What's up, YouTube? I'm gonna start making vlogs about this car because people have been asking me what the status of it is. It's sort of been on and off the road for the past 2 years. So just some health issues and other stuff have been keeping me away from really working on it. But currently, as you can see, it's sort of in many pieces right now. But I'm working to change that, hopefully. Quick rundown of what's being done. I have the top end off of the car. So heads, intake, everything's ripped apart. New cam is in it. It's a CC304, which is pretty small, but should be very, very tame. Very good for torque. It's such a big car like this. Apart from doing that too, I'm redoing the front suspension. It already has new ball joints on it, but I'm going to do rotors and also better suspension up front. I'm going to have Moog. I think they're 7268. I think that's the part number for them. They're about 700 pounds per inch autocross springs for the front of this thing, and then I'm going to do stock Impala springs in the back with little air helper bags to pump them up as needed. But should be a good handling car when that's done. So beyond that too, I also have hidden in that shelf there somewhere, I have polyurethane body bushings too, because this thing really needs them. All the rattles and the squeaks are driving me insane. And those should also really help stiffen up the chassis, because a little loose right now. It totally feels like a car with, 100,000 miles. Right now I have the heads over here apart. These are Lloyd Elliott LE1s, and I got a bitchin' deal on them. The issue with them when I got them was that all the tips of the valves, if you looked at them closely, these you won't see, but all the tips were worn because the motor that these heads came off of actually had oiling issues, so it kind of just wore grooves where all the rocker tips would touch. But other than that, it was too good of a deal to pass up on these things, so I threw new valves in them. I mic'd all the guides, checked all the guide clearances after miking all the valves. I had to do a little bit of honing with this little flex hone guy over here on the drill, just to get everything back within spec, because these are brand new stainless valves from competition products. They're not stock ones. And generally I think they were about 3/10,000ths over what the factory ones were. So I had to open them up. The valve job on these was pretty much fresh. There weren't a whole lot of miles on these heads when I got them. Deal was too good to pass up, but put new valves in it. Did a little bit of lapping with some of that grinding compound right here in this handy dandy suction cup tool. I'm going to go over it one more time and then try to get everything nice and polished and good looking. Then I'll be assembling these heads with these crane springs. They're 1038-1s. I used to run these on my other car out there, the green Camaro, way back when it was cam only car. So they're good dual springs. They're nice for a mild cam. Nothing extreme, but the cam that's going in this car isn't really anything to write home about. But with these heads and that cam, hopefully it should be making about 80 more wheel horsepower. I'm hoping for like high 300s, like 380-ish with the stick, and decent power boost from the 300 that it was at before. So it should be a lot quicker. Speaking of quicker too, I'm re-gearing the rear diff with 456s from the 373s that used to be in it, because the 373s were originally put in this car way back when it was automatic. But 373 on a I guess 27-inch Impala tire is not nearly enough. Like when you're rolling down the highway at about 70 miles per hour, the car's doing less than 1400 RPM. It's nowhere near enough for something like this. So 456 should really help get this thing out of the hole too, just because it feels a little sluggish in first gear. I think first will take you above 50 miles per hour as it sits right now. But yeah, all new bearings in the diff, new wheel bearings, new carrier bearings. Beyond that too, I have these Dick Miller triangulation braces, and what these basically do is they tie the upper control arm together with the lower control arm, because these cars are known for, I wouldn't say frame flex, but the frames on these things dates back to the late 70s and hasn't really been changed that much. So they need a little bit of help. That's the poly bushings in these should really help out. But yeah, I have Scorpion rockers, just new suspension bushings for the rear because the suspension on this car is pretty much destroyed from having the shit beat out of it. Same thing with the front steering. That needs a little bit of work. In addition to that, other than that, not a whole lot has changed in this car since. Other than I did cut out the bench seat in the middle here and turned it into a bucket. Doesn't look too bad. And also put an oil pressure gauge in just to know. So it seems pretty healthy. The reason the cam is so small is because I actually want to use this car to tow my Camaro outside. Even with the T56, it's also a reason for the 456's the extreme gear ratio, but these things actually have a towing capacity of 5,000 from the factory. And that car weighs low 3,000s-ish. I'm hoping to get more weight out of it, but I feel like this should be able to handle it, especially with the cam so tiny. And the compression isn't going to be nuts with this thing. It'll be a little over 11-to-1. So hopefully I'll be able to tow my other car to the track or to events or whatever. It's, you know, it's a utility vehicle. It's the beater, which is what I love about it. It's super comfortable and it's practical as well. I have a trailer hitch in the back corner over there for this thing, which it'll help with frame stiffening as well. It really does help tie the rear end together on these cars. This big Reese hitch. Hopefully it won't weigh too much. I also want to swap the mufflers to something a little bit louder because it's a little too quiet right now. Good sleeper, but a little too good of a sleeper. That's the problem. Like I kind of want to turn some heads. In addition to that other stuff, I also have this is a 3.5-inch aluminum drive shaft from a Crown Vic. From a P71. It's not the MMC shaft, it's just regular aluminum. MMC is the one it's like a matrix sort of boron, I think it's like boron carbide reinforced. There's a mesh inside of it. Well, this is just a standard aluminum 3.5-inch one, just because it was easy to find. Got it from the junkyard. Had it cut down about an inch because the Crown Vic shaft is roughly an inch longer. So put the B-body yoke on it. Slides right back into the T56, so that should be good. Otherwise, if you tried to run 456s with a stock steel drive shaft, it would probably rattle itself to pieces. You exceed the critical speed of the shaft, and you just get nasty vibrations. Another reason that the car is actually apart right now, that the diff is in pieces, this isn't the first time, this is probably about the third time I've taken this diff apart, is the posi actually shit itself. You can see on the spider gear. Yeah, that's not good. Here's the other one. The little ones are floating around here somewhere. But I got new spider gears for it. The clutches were okay. Basically what happened was I got on it and wheel hop is what killed it. It just ate the spider gears. And one of these little alignment tabs for the clutches down here. Probably can't see it. But yeah, rebuilding this Yukon, I'm going to shim it a little bit tighter than what they do come from the factory because the Yukons are notorious for being set up very, very loose. I mean, they're not the nicest posies that you can get, but then again, it's not like this is the nicest car. So I bought a shim kit from Yukon. It's this guy up top. It was like 10 bucks. Taking it apart, re-shimming it with the new spiders and everything. I'm going to put it together fairly tight, you know, not extreme. Because I'm going to actually be able to take turns with this without it breaking loose and flying backwards into a tree. But yeah, that'll be back together with the 456s in this diff. I also have disc brakes for it as well. Doing the disc brake conversion, that should save me about 20 pounds. Shave that off the car. You know, for weight reduction, bro. In addition to that, I also have taken out some sound deadening. All the seats inside of the car are actually manual from power, so that saves some weight as well. I've taken out plenty heat shields. The ABS is coming out. I'm also thinking about doing some Swiss cheesing under the hood, you know, doing it for the hood support and whatever I can. Yeah, I have to take this sound insulation off. Doesn't really do much anyway. And then if that's not extreme enough, I may take a full saw to the doors where you can't see it under the door panels. I don't want to fully strip the interior because I want it to look like it's stock. But it has to be lighter. It needs to get down to probably about GTO or 5th gen Camaro weight. It's too much of a piggy right now. Although it weighs under 4,000 pounds as it sits, which if you think about it, it's lighter than like an Audi S5, and it makes pretty much the same power right now. But it needs to be more competitive than that. I'm hoping I can get the car into, say, the mid 12s or high 12s. It's going to take some work, driver mod wise, but it'll be interesting. Yeah, I'll keep everyone updated as I go along, and hopefully get some good action shots from the car once it's fully back together sometime in the next few months. So stay tuned.